I was driving cross-country for a new job, taking back roads to avoid traffic. It was past midnight when I desperately needed to stop. The gas station appeared like a beacon in the darkness, but something felt wrong the moment I pulled into the empty parking lot. The cashier barely looked up when I entered, just pointed toward the back when I asked for the restroom key. He handed me a large, rusty key attached to a wooden block. His eyes seemed hollow, like he was warning me about something he couldn't say out loud. The hallway to the bathroom felt endless. Each step echoed strangely, and I noticed the walls were covered in stains I didn't want to identify. The air grew thicker as I walked, carrying a musty smell mixed with something else I couldn't place. The bathroom door was heavier than expected. As I turned the key, I heard what sounded like whispering from inside, but I convinced myself it was just old pipes. The door creaked open, revealing a single dim bulb hanging from the ceiling. The bathroom was worse than I expected. Cracked tiles, a mirror that seemed to reflect things that weren't there, and graffiti that looked fresh despite the place feeling abandoned. I decided to make this quick, but as I locked the door, I realized something was very wrong. I was in the stall when I heard footsteps enter the bathroom, but I hadn't heard the main door open or close. The footsteps were slow, deliberate, stopping right outside my stall. I held my breath, waiting for them to move to another stall, but they just stood there. Minutes passed in complete silence. I could see the shadow of shoes under the stall door, but they never moved. I cleared my throat, hoping the person would realize the stall was occupied and move on. Instead, I heard a low chuckle that made my blood run cold. The chuckling continued, getting louder and more disturbing. I fumbled for my phone, but there was no signal. The person outside began tapping on the stall door with what sounded like long fingernails. The tapping had a rhythm, like a twisted lullaby that seemed to echo inside my head. The tapping turned into scratching. I watched in horror as long gouges appeared in the metal door, as if someone was clawing at it with inhuman strength. The scratching formed patterns, symbols that hurt to look at. I pressed myself against the back wall, trembling uncontrollably. The door began to bend inward, the metal groaning under impossible pressure. I realized this wasn't human. Whatever was outside possessed a strength that defied explanation. The scratching stopped abruptly, replaced by a sound like heavy breathing, but too deep, too slow to be natural. I looked up and saw something dark moving over the top of the stall. It wasn't climbing like a person would. It flowed like liquid shadow, defying gravity. I couldn't make out its shape clearly, but I felt its attention focused entirely on me, studying me like a predator examines its prey. The thing dropped into the stall next to mine with a wet, heavy sound. I could hear it breathing inches away from me, separated only by a thin metal wall. It began to whisper in a language I didn't recognize, words that seemed to crawl into my mind and nest there. Suddenly, everything went silent. The breathing stopped. The whispers ceased. I waited for what felt like hours before slowly opening the stall door. The bathroom was empty, but the scratches on my door remained. I ran without looking back, leaving the key on the sink. When I reached the front of the store, the cashier was gone. The register was closed, lights dimmed, as if the place had been shut down for hours. I stumbled to my car and drove away as fast as I could. my hands still shaking from what I'd experienced. I didn't stop driving until sunrise. Later, I tried to find that gas station on maps, but it doesn't exist. No record of it anywhere. But sometimes, late at night, I still hear that scratching sound, and I wonder if whatever was in that bathroom followed me home after all.